All right, let's talk about that moment on the SAT. You know the one, you're feeling good, you're in the zone on the reading section, and then bam, you turn the page and there it is, a graph, a table, a chart full of numbers just staring back at you. It feels like a math problem just ambushed you in the middle of an English test, right? But what if I told you that's exactly the wrong way to think about it? What if these questions are actually a gift? I totally get it. You see those bars and lines, and it's easy for your brain to just kind of freeze. It feels like the test makers are intentionally trying to trip you up with something that just doesn't seem to belong. You've got this passage, and then you have this thing. And yeah, it's designed to feel a little intimidating. But here's the secret, the big reveal. With the right approach, these questions are, and I'm quoting directly here, basically free points. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to show you how to flip the script and turn what feels like a trap into your most reliable, most predictable source of points on the entire test. So, to beat the trap, you first have to understand how it's built. And the good news is, these aren't random tricky questions. They follow a super specific and, honestly, predictable pattern. Once you see the formula, you really can't unsee it. So what are you actually looking at here? While the phrasing is always super direct, like according to the chart or the figure suggests, the visuals, just your standard stuff. Line graphs, bar charts, maybe a simple table. And it's almost always paired with a short bit of text. Your only job is to connect the words in the passage to the numbers in the chart. Seriously, that's... Okay, now for the fun part. Let's pull back the curtain. See, the SAT isn't just testing if you can read a graph. It's testing if you're paying close attention. And the test makers have a few favorite tricks they love to use over and over again. So let's expose them, one by one. Trick number one is all about visual deception. They might stretch or squeeze the y-axis to make a tiny, insignificant change look like a massive jump. Or they could make a huge drop look like a gentle little slope. This is exactly why just eyeballing a graph is so dangerous. The very first thing you have to do is read the numbers on the axis. Always. This one's a classic. A table will show you raw numbers, like the total number of people who did something, and right next to it, it'll show you percentages. You can absolutely bet that if the question asks for a percentage, one of the wrong answer choices is going to use that raw number, just waiting for you to make that little mistake. And here's where the traps get a little more clever. The wrong answers aren't just made-up numbers. Oh no. The test makers will pull a real number straight from the chart, one that looks totally correct if you're just glancing, but it doesn't actually answer the specific question they asked. It's a trap built for people who are rushing. This brings us to the absolute golden rule for these questions. And if you remember one thing, make it this: the data is king. The passage might make some general claim, but if the numbers in the chart tell a different story, you have to trust the numbers. Every time. The data is the hard evidence. The text is just the backstory. Okay, so we know the traps. Now, how do we dodge them? How do we make sure we don't fall for them every single time? Well, there's a simple, foolproof method, and it's just 3 steps. That's it. This is it. This is the whole game plan. Step 1, before you even peek at the question, look at the visual. What's the title? What are the units on the axes? Step 2, skim the text that goes with it to get the context. Step 3, now and only now do you answer the question using both the data and the text to prove that your answer is the right one. So just think of this as your mental checklist.
You always want to be on the do this side, right? You're cross-checking everything. You're reading the data with precision, and you're only sticking to what the evidence actually shows. What you're avoiding are the common mistakes. Looking only at the text, just kind of glancing at the graph, or making these big, sweeping statements that the data doesn't actually back up.
Okay, so that three-step method, that's going to keep you from making mistakes. But if you want to get faster, if you want to move with way more confidence, you need to start thinking less like a test taker and more like a strategist. These are the hacks that the top scorers use. First up, the label check first hack. Seriously, before your eyes even hit the question itself, take 5 seconds to decode the graph structure. Read the title, the x-axis label, the y-axis label, the legend. Doing this first primes your brain, so when you finally read the question, you already get the context. It's a huge time saver. Now, this next one is a total game changer. It's called answer prediction. After you read the question, go to the data and find the answer for yourself. Just figure it out and say it in your own head. Only then do you look at options A, B, C, and D. This makes you practically immune to those really tempting but wrong answer choices we talked about. And finally, you have to zoom in on the precision words. The SAT is a test of precision. The difference between an answer choice that says slightly more than and one that says approximately could be everything. These tiny little words are often the key that unlocks the correct answer. So whatever you do, don't you dare just skim over them. So let's bring this all home. The goal here is to take something that feels chaotic and stressful and turn it into a predictable, reliable win. You're not just a test taker anymore. You are making data your #1 ally on this test.
And here's why this matters so much. This isn't about just one random question. You can expect to find anywhere from 1 to 3 of these database questions in every single reading passage. Think about that. Mastering this one skill has a massive ripple effect across your entire score.
So when it comes down to it, the bottom line is this. Data and graph questions are all about clarity and attention to detail. That's it. This isn't about being some kind of math genius. It's about being a careful, methodical reader. That's the whole skill. So here's your path forward, boiled down to 3 simple commands. If you can burn these into your brain, you will own these questions. Number 1, read the labels. Number 2, cross-check with the text. And number 3, predict your answer before you choose. That's the formula. So the next time you're taking a practice test and you turn that page and see a graph, don't think of it as a trap. Think of it as an offer. The SAT is literally offering you some of the easiest, most predictable points on the whole test. The only question left is, are you ready to claim them?